Yeah.
Well, hello, everybody. Hello, Bettina. How are you doing?
Hi, Eric. Hi, everyone. I'm doing well. I just that little at the beginning was I just got a little notification on my computer that Soul Connection is live, and I've never got that before, so
That's
it
pretty
kind of took
quick.
me by surprise. Yeah, but it's good that the notifications go out to people, so
Yeah, for sure.
I already know because I'm here. So
That's right. Uh, so, how's your week been?
it's been good. As I was saying, I it was time for my yearly physical, and Uh, I think I said I wouldn't even go for that if it weren't for. I know that sounds terrible, and I know people are probably tisking me as I say that, but I'm generally very healthy. Every ache and pain is for me. I'm dying because I have this fear that now that I'm so crazy happy in my life that there's something's going to come along and pull the rug out from under me.
Mhm.
Um, but there's that, I've had a few things going on, like I was just talking about acid reflux, which I think is um, really tension. And so I'm trying to deal with it in natural ways, as I always do. Look at the triggers, which would be stress and tension. And so the emotional triggers as well as the physical triggers. So my addiction to candy um, and the stress and things that go on in my life.
Yeah.
So
I know that it's been kind of a recurring theme for you, and I know how you said that you wouldn't go to the doctor if it wasn't for, I mean, some things you just can't avoid, and you need a refill on a thyroid prescription or something like that. For myself, I need to refill asthma prescriptions, and otherwise, yeah, it's like I have this feeling like I don't really want to go. I feel like there's a growing distrust of mainstream medicine, mainstream diet recommendations, and so on, and it leaves a lot of people in kind of the ether of trying to figure out what is right for them, because we do, you know, there it's not all wrong. The mainstream doctors, mainstream diet recommendations, but we also see where there's spots in society where it's overstepping, and where sometimes a reliance on a pill or a pharmaceutical. And I think intuitively we know that whatever that food guide was that we learned when we were in elementary school, the rainbow or the pyramid or whatever, like we know that we probably shouldn't have 10 servings of bread and 5 or 6 servings of cow dairy. It doesn't make any sense. And so all this stuff that we're told, and so we kind of go through life, and we have to kind of reevaluate and learn, and who knows what's credible, and all this stuff comes across Facebook of like, oh, this magical thing, or whatever it be, like tomato juice, and then you hear like Tom Brady never has tomatoes because it's inflammatory, and it's really difficult. That's just one example. It's so difficult to figure out what is true. There's so many different reports, and depending on where you're looking, you find supplements and being pushed, or you find supplemental information about wherever you're looking. So if you want to think that just going straight vegan is the best way to go, and you start looking in those spaces on the internet, and the way that Google, tracks everything you do, and then you start getting like all this advertisements and all these video suggestions for why veganism is a great way to go, and then one day you're using somebody else's computer and you see all these articles about why veganism, while is good in principle, is not good for some of these other things, because we are omnivores and our diet works best in this way, and it's really difficult to navigate and decide for ourselves what is right for us. And it can be a real struggle, and it can be something that we're just like doing our best at, but we're always a little bit insecure about.
yeah, and it's really interesting because I'm I'm one of those people who's always looking for the best way to be healthy, and um, I read a lot of stuff about healthy living and eating, and Um, I've always believed, for the most part, other than my candy addiction, that I eat healthily. but I can get into those cycles of, baking too much. And then, well, when you bake it, you have to eat it, right? Because it is good. And I think the key is that we have to listen to our inner voice and make decisions based on what we believe is the right thing for us, and to have a balance between a healthy balance and a healthy attitude toward um, naturopathic, homeopathic, medical, emotional, all those different ways of dealing with our health, because I think every single one of them has a part to play um, in our well-being. I think I do believe that our emotions affect our physical health, and I do believe that um, you know when we have physical issues, knowing and using references, which I do, and believe me, this is all my own. This is all what's sort of come to light for me in my life, and it will be different for everybody, because everybody has their own belief system. But I really do believe that you do not heal from whatever is going on, because I believe that the physical issue is a manifestation of a deeper emotional issue. And
Right.
I feel that, yes, going to the doctor to find out, to get a diagnosis is a completely sane and rational thing to do. But I also don't believe that just having the doctor hand over a pill or a treatment or whatever is the full um, spectrum of treatment that needs to be done. I really do believe that the emotional, the physical, um, the mental, everything has to be taken into account. I think so many of our illnesses are brought on by unhealthy eating and stress, because we seem to live such stressful lives these days. And so it's very much, I mean, I use many different references. I use Louise Hay's book, and there's another guy, and his name has totally left my mind. But both of them have written books that talk about the emotional, physical connection.
Him
Um,
and Louise Hay.
Yes. And they will go through the gamut of all sorts of different diseases, and they will give you the emotional connection to it. Um, I believe that what we put into our bodies only exacerbates any problems that are already existing, and that we cannot heal if we are mistreating our bodies, and if we're not emotionally stable enough to look after our bodies um, in the best way possible. As for drugs, sometimes that's temporarily a fix. I mean, I'm on thyroid medication, um, but my goal has always been like, wouldn't it be lovely if I could get off of it? Um, and I'm not saying that I can't. I just never stick to anything long enough to really see the benefits. Um, but yeah, I think it's got to be everything. I mean, you've got to look at the whole mind, body, spirit in order to fully heal from any emotional, physical, or mental um, issues. I don't think it's just a magic pill. A magic pill will abate the symptoms, but it will not cure or heal the problem.
Yeah.
But again, that's my take on it, um, and that's how I sort of deal with my um, anything that comes up for me. And I think it's a good idea to get a doctor who is on the same page as you as far as how you want to deal with anything that arises. And I happen to find a doctor who is willing to sit and spend the time and hear what's going on across all aspects of your life. Like, okay, so I'm feeling stress. What's it about? Let's talk about this. And then being willing to offer the support in all the different areas, physically, emotionally, mentally.
Yeah.
So, but I think at the very foundation, balance between all of those things is super, super important.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's so difficult because we just don't know. To be an expert in the field of physical wellness, it just takes so much education. There's so much that's going on that even the high end of science doesn't fully understand why, some people can have wildly different diets on either end of the planet, and each person lives to 80 with, similar or non-existent issues. It's bizarre, and it's so great to have a doctor that can sit down with you and take the time. And I know that's a real challenge too, because I mean, here in Canada or here in Ontario, I know how the system works, and with and it's different in different places. But I find that with my doctor, yeah, I mean, he's just so quick to send me to referral here, send me to referral here. Here's a prescription. Here's a prescription, and now they get to bill the government whatever they bill for my visit. It's really it's a system that kind of needs overhauling, and I don't know how plausible that is in the short or medium term future about the government's role, because government is important for some things, and part of the government's role should be to, for a healthcare system. And in many ways, it's not a healthcare system that we have now. It's very much a sick care system. And to your point about handing out pills, I mean, it is always temporary. Now, the temporary, you can do that temporary measure the rest of your life, but and some things are just not, you're just unable to fix, of course. But I do think that there is a gray area in the middle that sometimes we have this over reliance on a pill to mask the symptoms of the thing that's causing the dis-ease. And for me, it was huge for me when I first had that word separated for me. I think it was a Neale Donald Walsch book, separating disease to dis-ease. That's what it is. It's something in the body that's going through dis-ease. And that's why I found it so much easier and so much more accessible for me to work on emotional wellness and intellectual wellness, because it's so much easier to grasp. When you come across something that makes sense immediately in your mind, you're like, yes, that makes sense. I can start moving in that direction right now. But it's difficult with the physical stuff because you can try giving up gluten. And I've done experiments with my diet. You try to get off bread for 2 weeks, and honestly, I don't feel any different. Or you try to go on a cleanse, and other than your bowel movements being different, I don't really feel any different. It's such a lagging indicator. Like sometimes you got to be doing these things for weeks or more, and it's difficult to commit to them when you don't really feel a big difference between whether or not you eat a cookie for breakfast or whether you have an apple and a vegetable smoothie. And it is, I'm sure there is a difference there. I'm using a ridiculous example, but in all the ways that we can tweak our diet, for me, it's been difficult because I don't really feel a big difference. And as opposed to emotional well-being, where I can read something and be like, oh my God, yes, that makes a ton of sense. And that's going to improve my life from this point forward. And it can also be difficult too if you are in good health. And it's this whole thing where you don't have enough data points to really say unequivocally this is the way to go. But I really do think that emotional wellness, getting enough rest, not eating horribly, making sure you have enough vegetables, and doing what you can to manage your stress and manage your anxiety and manage your anger, goes a long way to healthy living. That may be better than just eating organic versus eating some GMOs, eating, whatever vegetables are cheapest in the grocery store, what differences those can make in your life. And it's really difficult. And it's something that bringing up off the top of the show, how it's a difficult thing for us to process on our own because there just aren't enough answers. And a right answer isn't immediately a right answer for us often.
Yeah. And, I think that comes down to balance too, as far as, what your eating habits are. Um, I don't see a problem. I don't see gluten as the problem. I see the high level of stress, the busyness, the not taking time to sit back in the stillness and relax and enjoy life. It's all about busyness. It's all about filling every moment with some stimulation of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
The digital age. It's I mean, we won't even go into that again, but and all the highly processed foods, the convenience foods that people tend to rely on because of the busy lives they live.
Right. Good point.
It's a cycle. And I don't think it's the gluten. I think it's all the other stuff. I think that there's nothing wrong with eating wheat or dairy or eggs or whatever if we do it in a balanced way. Are we just eating tons of bread and we're not eating vegetables and we're not having enough protein and we're not getting that balance of all the proper nutrition of the whole foods that our bodies need, those wonderful living foods that nourish our body? Are we getting those in addition to the wheat and the corn and the sugar? I mean, I even don't really see anything wrong with having the odd sweet snack. But when we go overboard and we stop eating the things that are good for us, then yes, I see it as a problem. And that kind of is what tends to happen for me anyway, is that I get on a cycle um, and I'm not eating the things that are good for me. Um, you know, the salads start going by the wayside, and it's easier to have a sandwich for lunch. And but it really does feel better to have that balance and to know that you're eating properly and that you're you're balancing the maybe not so great things with a lot of great things, so that your body is being fed and nourished properly.
Yeah, and it is difficult. And also, if you live in a climate where where it gets well below zero, because you have this beautiful backyard that we mentioned so many times in the show, and I just admire it. Is that you grow so many of your own vegetables throughout the summertime, and then wintertime comes and you're cold, and salads only last a day or two in the fridge, from the store. And if you're going to get a decent size organic salad, I mean, you're looking at like almost $15 to $20. And you got to go out and get it and put it in the fridge and then eat it, and that's only one meal, and it just becomes it's difficult. There's barriers there, and I do like your point about knowing when you're in balance, and we know when we're out of balance. We know when we're eating like crap for a couple of days, or if we're traveling or what have you, and having that ability to ask ourselves, which is really the critical component and what the show is all about, is just when you notice you're out of balance, when you can create the gap, when you can become aware of your behavior, to stop for a second and look inside and ask myself, why am I imbalanced? Am I imbalanced? I'm feeling off. What is it? What can I do to bring myself back to a peaceful, loving, calm, wise place of being, so that I can make better decisions from this point forward and release the guilt and the shame that we've accumulated for having the few days of being imbalanced in whatever it is, whether it be diet or anything in life.
Yeah, yeah. And I think here's the thing: the tendency is that when we are under stress, we go for the crap food,
Mhm. Yeah, yeah,
right? At the time where we most need the healthy,
right.
nourishing foods, we are turning to the comfort foods, the sugar, the snacks, the bread, all the things that are, the processed foods. When I was sick a couple of months ago, I wanted cheesies. Cheesies. Like, I don't remember the last time I had cheesies. I mean, the worst I ever eat besides candy is is nacho. No, tortilla chips, whatever.
Mhm.
And usually they're organic and they're plain and there's no crap on them. I wanted cheesies, but it's that, and I used to love cheesies. Um, but it's that, you want something you think is gonna make you feel better. And so you think the junk food is gonna make you feel better.
Yeah.
And that's the moment when you need the good bone broth or the
Yeah.
nice fresh salad with the good nutrients in it that's going to help your body come back to life again. You know what I mean? So so it's really interesting because I think we really do sabotage ourselves when it comes to that, and I don't think we really think about it. And I think that the busy lives is just a way of taking us down all sorts of roads that are not always healthy.
Yeah. That's the real risk we run when we don't think, when we don't stop and think, when we just react, when we react to the triggers we have in our life without stopping and creating the gap to think about what is best for us next. And it's so critical, and it just plays out all the time in diet, just like you said, because when we think the crap food will make us feel better, like having some cheesies or going to McDonald's for a treat, or whatever it is for you. Everybody has their thing that they're on. But isn't that such a thing? And to give ourselves forgiveness, because that's why it's so difficult and dangerous what we do with kids and when we were kids, because food and crap food was used so often as a pattern interrupt, or was so often used as a reward, or was so often used as a funny the expression, a carrot on the stick if you would just behave, or a way for you. Do you want some ice cream? Will that make you feel better? And then we'll wiping the tears away. Yeah, yeah. Do you want chocolate on it? And working in a restaurant, I see it every night. Every night I see it. And a kid comes in and it's their birthday, or they're eating some chicken tenders and fries, and they got to eat one more chicken tender before they can have dessert. And I tell you, like, next time you're at a restaurant, just open your eyes and look around any table with children. And if an ice cream bowl or a piece of birthday cake comes out or anything, the adults go nuts, and they're like, "Oh, look at that!" Trying to get a reaction out of a 4-year-old or a 2-year-old or a 9-year-old. Wow, you know, and adults never act like that when there's salad.
Yeah, I was going to say they probably don't. No.
No, and when the main course comes out, they're not like, "Wow,
Yeah.
here's some carrots and celery and something healthy." It's always when the dessert comes out, and that goes deep in us. It goes deep. Us. We were all given that as kids, and some of it is you know not thinking as parents, but some of it is also just cultural. We got to a point where we had this amazing society where we have food available to us at all times. And it was just like an abundance of stuff that we could eat. And so I get why it's celebrated, but it's 2018 and we need to stop and think. And I really challenge you next time you're at a restaurant to open your eyes and look around and watch when a dessert comes to the table, and watch the adults act and speak and be demonstrative in a way that they never are unless there's sweets coming for the little kid. And they just says it's just this, you know, calling it out. It's this selfish need in an adult to watch a kid get super excited. And just so pleasurable for an adult to watch that we sell them out in a way. Um, and of course, it's a nice, loving thing, and we all want to celebrate and be happy and everything. But we need to understand what messages we're sending and what messages were sent to us as kids, and why, in moments of stress, in moments of like rewarding ourselves with crap food or making ourselves feel better, we go to crap food. It's something to um, take apart and look at.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's just, I mean, when you look at the amount of food-like substances that are in the world right now, it's like, yeah, it's really, I, I taste the chemicals in food now when I eat anything that's kind of processed. I taste it doesn't taste good to me. I much prefer to make it from scratch myself because like a cookie, bought cookie, meh, it's too processed. I taste all the additives in it because I'm so used to not eating that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And you know, but people don't, you know, they have beautiful kitchens. I can tell you that. They're always getting their kitchen remodeled.
That's
But
true.
they're not using it, you know?
It's not to use, Bettina. It's just to show
No,
off.
yeah, I suppose. I suppose. So, um, yeah, I think that's something that you really need to have time for. You
Yeah.
need to make time
Yeah, it's
for,
true. You know,
instead of providing good meals for yourself and your family.
yeah, yeah, and as I was speaking earlier, trying some different experiments with my diet, I haven't experienced a lot of changes with a lot of things. Like I feel totally different. But one thing I do, and one thing I that is very real to me is, I mean, I do like vegetables. I enjoy them. I don't like fruit so much, but vegetables I like and I have a lot of. But when I had the experience of doing my own gardening and creating my own vegetables and the difference between what lettuce from your garden tastes like opposed to lettuce from a grocery store, especially out of season, is night and day. And that made a huge impression on me, and it will be part of my future, making my own vegetables. And why I'm so interested in when we go to Bettina's house, I don't care what your kitchen looks like. I don't care that you redone your basement. Every time I go to your house, I want to see the garden and see what state it is and what kind of month. And I'm always trying to pick you and Peter's brain on, because I definitely see that as something, because it really was different. It was really a tangible difference in what it tastes like, and how much I enjoyed the process of going to the backyard to make a salad of whatever the universe was offering up that day.
Yep, I absolutely love that. Like whatever was ready in the garden was the vegetable of the day for
Yeah,
us for dinner.
yeah.
It's kind of funny because in the winter we open our back gate because we need somewhere to put our snow, and there was still kale out there, and kale is so hardy that
Yeah.
one year we had it all through the winter. We had a really mild winter and we had it all through the winter, but we opened the gate, and I feed the bunnies in the winter because I went out. I took a little walk around the garden because there's no snow right now. So the other day when I came home, I'll do a little tour of the garden, just see if there's anything sprouting because of the mild weather. Um, and I look at these bare stalks from the kale because the bunnies have come and cleared it all out, which is fine because I probably wouldn't, get out there um, and pick it anyway. So I'm feeding the bunnies. Not in the summer. There's lots of other options for them in the summer, but not as many in the winter. So I don't mind feeding them in the winter.
You're just helping their populations to be more of a pest in the summertime.
Yeah, exactly.
In the wintertime, they're cute. In the summertime, they're a nuisance.
That's right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they're definitely not allowed in the summer.
We'll use up our half hour, Bettina. How would you feel about
Yeah.
finishing, sending us off
Um,
into our weekend with a meditation?
Absolutely.
Great.
I will do that. Let's close our eyes and take a deep breath in and exhale. And again, breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth, right down into your belly. And really grounding yourself, feeling your feet on the floor, feeling yourself sitting in your chair, allowing yourself to be still and quiet and listen to your body. And as you listen to your body and what it needs and what you're feeling, pay attention to what your body needs as opposed to what it's craving.
Mm.
To really look at those cravings and take a look at why perhaps that craving is even there. What is it telling you? In fact, ask the craving, what is it you want? Really, beyond the physical gratification, what is the feeling that this craving is looking for. And then counterbalance that with what your body needs. Good whole foods, tender care. What does your mind need? Foods that will nourish your mind. Foods that will ground you to the earth. Foods that will put you in a place of getting a good night's rest, of feeling vibrant so that you can be creative, so that you can feel joyful, happy. All the things that your body needs to be cared for, to be loved, to be accepted, acknowledged. All of these things have a bearing on those cravings, on how you feel. All your worries cause you stress, which make you crave something to alleviate the pain and the stress. But give it something that is healthy, and that will help to alleviate the stress, because you will worry less about what you're eating and how you're feeling, and you can then sit in the stillness and look at the stress. Take the time. Be fully in your body and understand it. Understand your emotions, your thoughts, your body, your beliefs, all of these things in a beautiful balance together to keep you healthy, mind, body, and spirit. And when you're ready, wiggle your fingers and your toes and bring yourself back to the world.
Thank you, Bettina.
You're welcome.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for watching this week, and we'll see you all again next.
Have a great week, everyone.